is a moment.
Are you having a moment?
I'm having a moment.
Let's take a moment.
Are you having a moment?
I'm having a moment.
Let's take a moment.
This is a moment.
I think this is a moment.
Yeah, this is a moment. Hey, everybody. Welcome to This is a Moment podcast. It's your girls, Paige, Andy, Maya, and this is our new video series. So thanks for joining us for our video series here, and welcome to Underrated Moments with. And today we have a very special guest to discuss an underrated moment. He is an artist and a friend of the pod here. Welcome, Khalil Semien, everybody.
Yay!
My fingers are like going in and out.
I know.
Of the
It's
blur.
freaking me out.
Woo! There we go.
I know. Up in the camera.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for
Okay.
having me.
Yay. Thanks for joining
Welcome.
us today, Khalil. And, we always start off our episodes by asking our guests if you had a moment this week that, stuck out to you that you need to discuss. Did you have any moments?
That stuck out.
That you just want to talk about? Fun moments?
It has to be fun?
No, it could be not fun.
All right, 'cause I had a not fun one.
Oh.
What was
I
it?
got a parking ticket on Saturday. Was that Saturday?
Oh, no.
I remember now.
No. It was Friday. It was bullshit. This is what happened.
That's so rude.
This is what happened. Okay, so the way my apartment is set up, it's street cleaning right in front and on the side on Thursday. And then on the opposite street of the cornered side is street cleaning on Friday. So I was parked there on Friday. So what I did was, so you can't be there from 8 to 10 in the morning. So I woke up at 5. I was up at 5 because I was anxious about making sure I was up early enough to move the car. So I got up around 7. I moved it to right in front of the house because it was open. I was all right, cool. Well, it's not Friday, it's not Thursday, so I could park here. I do an order, and I get to the car, I got a ticket because I was parked there for more than 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did he even know I was there for 2 hours?
I know. Don't they have to mark your tire or something to tell? So he was waiting for you to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where I won't get too more into it, but that was my moment.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. Nobody ever checks right there. Anytime a sign is 2-hour parking from this time to this time.
Yeah.
No one cares
checks for the 2 hours.
You're there all day.
That's what 2 hours means.
I can't park in front of my own house.
Nothing's yours anymore.
That's the message that we're getting.
I'm sobbing because I forgot about street cleaning. I literally forgot about that. Yeah. I was I completely forgot that you had to move your car a certain day because here they come.
Do they not have that in Arizona?
They do. It's just I live in a suburb. So, so there's nothing they're okay, we'll go down the street.
I know. I always think about that though. I'm always how are the suburbs clean?
Who cleans them?
There's no street cleaning, but
that's so true.
There's not as much.
The elves do it.
The elves known as HOA probably.
Yeah. Well, what if you're not in an HOA? I grew up in a regular ass street, no HOA. It wasn't dirty. Who was cleaning it?
Who was cleaning?
I guess classism. I've never lived this life.
I've never understood.
I've never had this.
Well, I guess there's not as much people, not as much activity happening.
Right. So there's less things, but there's a lot.
No, in the suburbs.
There'd be little white kids playing basketball.
There's kids, stuff. There's for sure kids. They're bad ones, driving golf carts down the street and stuff.
Golf carts. I also though sometimes think when we do have street clean, I remember this one time there was a bunch of shit in the street for forever. And sometimes you'll see the street cleaners drive around if it's a big thing. And I'm like, who the fuck is supposed to clean it if it's not the street cleaner?
Nobody. They're no, I don't get paid enough for that. They're no.
It's upsetting because I'm so I had to not park here for you to just drive around my car then. Why I got to get a parking ticket?
Literally. Well, clearly they can because you don't get your car hit. You just get a ticket. So they know how to do it.
Your
It's
car is not in
true.
another neighborhood.
Yeah. They just clearly understand. Like,
You
I
just
don't
have
Yeah.
to
get that.
pay for the inconvenience.
Right. They were
You're
like, I'm really
paying.
tired. I had to drive around you.
Ah!
Disrespect.
Yeah, I get really mad though if the street like really it does not feel clean because I'm like, you are making me do so much for you to be able to clean it and you don't
And
even
you're
clean
doing
it. Like,
nothing. What are we paying you for?
what
Yeah.
is it?
What is this?
Well, in more of an up moment instead of a down moment, we're going to be
And I said it.
discussing. You feel upset now?
Nah.
He's
I'm
like,
good.
nah, I can't do the rest of the show. I'm done.
Right.
Well, we're going to talk about something that's going to make everybody feel good.
All right. James Blake's 2016, The Color of Anything. And then 88 Keys is The Death of Adam. That's 2008.
Yes.
Two
So we're
albums.
talking about two albums here. Before we talk about each one separately, I did want to
Right.
ask what made you want to choose both of these albums since they are different? Like, why did these two come to your mind for underrated?
I didn't really think about it that much. I was just like, hey, nobody likes this one as much. And
Yeah.
The Death of Adam is
answer.
an album I don't think most people have ever heard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like most people don't listen to 88 Keys, even though that album has a pretty star-studded cast.
It
And he
does.
Right.
worked with a lot of people, but like, and they're on that time, like 2008. That's college dropout was 2007.
Mhm.
No, not college dropout. I mean, graduation was 2007, and then you had like that's like late 2007. Like that's seventh grade. So I always kind of combine those 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Good time.
2007, 2008. So that's American Gangster, Jay-Z. You
Mhm.
had Graduation. I remember Keisha Cole's album was out that time.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Beyonce dropped too, but I don't remember. But
Yeah, that
anyways,
was the I Am Sasha
88
Fierce era.
Keys got no, isn't that 2009?
No, that was middle school because I remember watching Ego, the music video in middle school, and all the eighth graders being like, you know what it means.
I could have sworn that was
Gross.
2009. 'Cause that's
Single
like
ladies. It's
that's
middle school.
2009. We was
Eight.
in middle school 2009.
Fine.
Were
It
we
was
in
the
middle
end
school?
of eighth grade.
Yeah, that's eighth grade.
Whatever that was.
Seventh grade. That's when the first iPhone came out.
Okay.
That wasn't.
I didn't have one for
because
a long time, so
2008.
that
That's
doesn't like
also.
have a marker for me.
Well, I didn't have it either, but it was a big deal. And then you had the Crank That era. Was
Mhm.
Oh my
2008. So
gosh.
she wasn't doing that, cranking that around that time.
She was not cranking
Beyonce was
that.
not
She
crank.
wasn't. She wasn't doing. I thought that was two different things. But the
If I
point
were a
was,
boy.
Death of Adam. Nobody really. I've never like me and my friend Jalen. We are the only people who really listened to the album front to back. Nobody else I've ever met like, oh yeah, 88 Keys. They don't really think of him like that.
Right.
He's a producer too.
Mm-hmm.
And even as a producer, he's very, very underrated in my opinion. He's one of my favorite producers of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
And what made The Color of Anything pop up for you?
Because I think like after he did Retrograde, people kind of like was hype on him, and then they didn't like 2016 is another year where there was a lot of amazing albums. So yeah, Lemonade came out that year.
Mhm.
What else came out in 2016 specifically?
Cranes in the Sky,
2016.
right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that Blonde.
Or A Seat at the
Blonde
Table,
was
I mean.
after.
And
Yeah,
then
Blonde. Um, Life of Pablo was 2015, 2016, but that was it was early 2016.
Okay.
That was around that time. So it was like, there's a lot of other albums around that time. And I think like, again, James Blank was a part of Lemonade and it was a part of Blonde and all that other
Right.
stuff too. I'm pretty sure he worked on Life of Pablo too, but he's worked on a lot of stuff. Oh, and
That's true.
no. Pimp Butterfly was before that. But anyway, around this time was a lot of other albums, and I don't think people really listened to that. I mean, of course people listen to it, but like,
Right.
nobody mentions those songs when they talk
Right.
about their favorites of his.
Okay.
And there's not even a lot of concert footage of a lot of those songs.
Oh.
Just a few. So I was like, yeah, this one.
Yeah.
These are underrated.
Okay. So let's talk The Color in Anything. What do you love about this album?
Me?
Yeah.
The thing I like about James Blake in this album is the ideas that he has. He has a good blend of like gospel and electronic in the way he harmonizes his voice. And I think the ideas are like very unique and refreshing to where it sounds specifically like him. in a time where like a lot of people kind of just do the popular thing and like what the sound is. So like I could listen to that album and it wouldn't even matter what year it came out. But you can't really say the same for a lot of other people whose music. That's not a diss, but it's like it's very unique. And because of that, like I don't think it got the recognition it deserved. And a lot of times I remember one time I was playing around some people and they kind of made it seem like it was just he was just making just sad complaining music. And I'm like, I
feel
don't
like
think
I
it
remember
sounds
that.
like that at all.
No, I think it's
at
very
all.
like beautiful and haunting. Like there's something like some of the songs I'm just like, whoa. And yeah, when you described it as like electronic gospel and like soul, I was like, it is. That's what it is. Because like I remember when you first played James Blake, I never heard any kind of music like that. Like I don't normally listen to that. And I was like, oh, like, what do you call it? Like, what is this? Like, it felt like such a new sound to me. And I really like it because you're right. It's so soulful. Like James Blake really has a lot of soul. And I feel like that's why he also works with the people he works with because it's like, it's very rich and layered. And it's also cool to watch him work. Like Khalil would show me videos of him playing live and like looping his voice and the way he does it, because I feel like sometimes like he'll do something like that seems very simple, but it's like so powerful. And I'm like, whoa, like, how do you even think to do that? But I also wanted to ask when did you first hear James Blake? Like, how did you get into him?
The first time I heard him was on my way to my friend's house. This was what year was this? 2014. So this is around time like I've been making music for about like almost a year. And around this time, even now I still do this, but I was very like thirsty for just techniques. So who was I listened to a lot of Knowledge as a producer. I like a lot of Flying Lotus, Pharrell, Kanye, Drake, and just kind of understand like what the difference between their music and my music was because I was still new to it. And around this time, I was producing for a lyric, and we made a lot of stuff, and so that was a cool practice for like R&B style, and then I was making music with Jay, and I was hip hop. But I always kind of felt like, how do I make music that's more personal to me and everything that I grew up listening to? So I always kind of just go to any genre I could find, new or old. And I was listening to Pandora. So if I can't, if I already listened to all the music I grew up on just to refresh, I'll go to Pandora and make a playlist or like a radio station of things similar. And one of his songs came on. It was called "Love What Happened Here." And it's actually one of the first songs ever like he released with his actual voice on it, because he's an electronic DJ and a producer, so he makes all the music himself. So he uses his voice as a sample and triggers it, and then he sings like kind of like very harmonious in the background of it. And when I first heard it, it's pretty long too. When I first heard it, I was like, what even is this? Like, how do I even make this? But it felt so right for the time that I kept listening to that one song the rest of the week, because I couldn't figure out exactly how he was doing that. So that's the way I was introduced to him. And also, that was around the time he was very popular with that song Retrograde, and Kanye shouted him out saying that was his favorite artist. So he was somebody that like
cool.
At the time, he was somebody who like was very, very like popular around like 2014, 2015.
Okay.
So then I first heard him myself, and yeah.
Is that what you usually look for? Like when you're listening to other artists, are you looking for like a sound that's like a very individually them? Like, do you not want to hear if you can be like, oh, that's so and so, and that sounds kind of like this? Are you looking for somebody that's really like original when you're listening to music?
It's hard to say what I look for. I kind of just go off what feels good. Like it could be like regular, and it's like, oh, this is dope. I could listen to this, have a good time, and then because of that, it like makes me listen to a lot. Like actually I won't give an example, but but like but I think what I'm saying is like what sticks out. So like when I first heard Flying Lotus, I was just like, oh shit, like this type of music where it doesn't have to have vocals, like it doesn't have to be like a traditional R&B or a traditional hip hop. It could just be like when you listen to jazz music, you have a bunch of riffs of like trumpets and horns, bebop. So it's a bunch of that going together, and it's just a feeling. I always kind of hate when people try to classify that as just like elevator music or like some of the music I make. They'll be like, "Oh, that's that study music," and I'm like, "I don't know, nigga. I don't know. You could just study. Like, I
That
don't
is
want to
so
be like
funny you say
the
that
book
because
music. Like,
actually a jazz like was playing at work and someone was like, "This is my study playlist right here."
Study
And I'm
playlist.
like, yeah, I do think that is kind of funny because I'm like, I like jazz. I like big band. Like
I
it's
feel
fun. Like that doesn't get you kind of hype. Like unless it's like slow jazz and you're like, ooh. But if like something's like going, it's like you want to
Right.
study to that. Like I want to
Right.
get up.
yeah,
Like
I'm
I
not. I'm
think
not
just
listening
the
to
fact that there's
smooth
no
jazz.
words, right?
That's true. But I'm
right,
like,
that's
even
true.
then,
Smooth
the
jazz.
the but when people say stuff like that, not that that matters, but it's like, the vocals are an instrument too. So it's like when you
Mm-hmm.
replace that with the technique, whether it's like a trumpet or a piano riff, or even like James Blake, what he does a lot is he'll say one line and just loop it over and over again.
Right.
But it
Right.
sounds like so much is changing because the background is changing too.
Yes.
So it's like a cinematic appeal to
Yeah.
it that I'm like, oh, nobody's saying they would study the James Blake though.
Right.
I actually would though, but my point is that it's just like there's so many ways to make music.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
so many techniques and there's just so many things that you don't even
Yeah.
realize. It's like painting. So it's like, with painting, you can have such a simple, like solid hue in the background and then
Mm-hmm.
just like a simple face, and that could be so much, like
Right.
I was gonna go deep into that, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to eat y'all. But it's essentially like that. So like when I listen to like someone like Flying Lotus or even, take it back to James Blake, just the textures that they add to the
Mm-hmm.
music, I think it's like it's fresh, it's refreshing, and it's also like a very wow thing because you can't really put somebody else in that song and think, oh, it
Right.
sounds like, you're like, oh yeah, for
Right.
sure, Cardi would have made this song.
Right.
So it's like, no, it's like this sounds specifically like James, even though he
Right.
does collab with so many people.
Right.
It's like when you paint and it's like, yeah, red is gonna obviously be red in this painting. It doesn't have to be blue. It doesn't have to be yellow.
Right. Okay, Imaya, I kind of want to know what you thought about this album because I feel like you don't listen to music like this, and I get kind of used to it from being with Khalil all the time.
Right.
So I want to know what you thought about it.
It was shocking. I was like, oh.
I kept thinking, like, I wonder what Imaya is going to think about this album, but you didn't text me about it or anything. So I
I
was
know.
like,
I
okay, I'm
just
gonna wait
listened.
and see.
Yeah, she caught me on a busy week. I was like, yeah, I listened to it, but yeah. Yeah, it was for sure a journey. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, actually.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
was like, oh. And like, you know how you're like, I feel like I'm always in the opposite mood. Like, I feel like for Renaissance, I was like in a down mood. And
Right.
so Renaissance was like all up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and this one I was feeling like more like, like upbeat. And so I turn it on thinking it's gonna be that. And I'm like, oh, what's this?
It's like very emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. It did feel like sad, but you guys are like, it's not sad. So I'm like, is it not?
No, I
it did
think
feel like,
they're sad.
yeah,
But
No,
to
it's
reduce it
sad.
to complaining is like, what?
oh.
Well, my real opinion of I always think it's interesting when like people will try to categorize whatever they intake by a specific mood. Like I
Right.
remember people would try to not try, they would say that, I've heard opinions about like the movie Moonlight, about that's a sad
Mhm.
movie. And I
Right.
think to categorize certain things as just one emotion of it, I think takes away from the real factor, where it's like this is a human being going through something and they're expressing it in such a grand way
Right.
that
Mhm.
to only describe it as, oh, this nigga's just had the worst day ever. I think it's kind of it's kind of crazy because it's like everything can come, like beauty can come from it too.
Yeah.
So it's like
Mhm.
just the expression of it, and that's not my reacting to specifically what you just said, but just in general when
It's
people
okay, Khalil.
categorize. No, because I
Don't
know
try
people
to
be like,
drag me. It's
I'm
fine.
not
I'm just
trying to
gonna
drag
sit
you.
over
I'm talking
here.
about
It's
in
fine.
general. Just like, I hear a lot of like people will find like one way to describe certain things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
it could be so much because like nothing is that simple.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
That's it.
I really love. I'm sorry. I'm like, I have to pull it up now. I know I love Noise Above Our Heads. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, I like that song.
I love that song. I also love. Oh yeah. Noise Above Our Heads. That was the one I couldn't remember. I was like, what? How does it? Was it? How'd it go? And then I just heard the tune, the like notes he's just hitting in the beginning, but I couldn't remember the words. And then I was like, this song. I think it's really pretty. I love it. And then I also love I Need a Forest Fire, but I think that was like the popular one on the album. It's got like a little star by it.
Love it.
I also love Put That Away and Talk to Me.
Yeah, that one's a cool one too.
They're like, it's just like cool. Do you have any favorite songs on this?
Me or Imaya?
You, Khalil?
Me. I like when I first heard the album, one of my favorites was Love Me Whatever Way.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way he like would hold the notes and then like the background kept changing to like this kind of like because it starts
Right.
off with that like haunting note and he likes to drag it out and then sing on top of that and then just add these super layers and textures. Voice of that was cool. I really liked Points, the second song, because the beat is like funky. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's disgusting. It's like boom, dun, dun, dun. And I'm like, what does this sound like live? Because he has this cool like
Right.
he has this bop he likes to do when he's feeling it. It's like I was showing Paige the other day. He's like,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I like his little
Yes.
bop when he's like making his music because
Yes.
he looks so preppy. Like he looks like an Ivy League student, and he's just like
Oh
doing
my
this shit.
gosh. That's
And the
my
beat
favorite
is
thing.
just crazy. And then I like Noise Above Our Heads. I think right now my favorite is Timeless.
Okay.
It's the way he's like
I like that one
switching up
too.
so many different things. As you can tell, I like switch ups.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I like
Yeah,
a
his
moment.
beats are crazy.
A moment.
I like a moment. That's why it's for this is a moment.
That's why it's
This was
here
his
for
moment.
us.
Yes. And you're right. It is very like cinematic.
Mhm.
When you had mentioned it was cinematic like before I listened to it or like while I was listening to it, we were kind of talking and it made me start listening kind of different. And I was like, oh, you know what? Some of the way this goes reminds me a little bit of like Labyrinth and the score he does for
Mm.
like Euphoria sometimes. Like I can hear so when listening into this I was like, oh yeah, like you can put this in a movie like that or like
Right.
in something, I don't know, it just makes you start hearing and seeing things
I think
different.
they collaborate pretty frequently too.
Oh, okay.
I might be
cool.
making that up, but I think they're both from the UK.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that's not why. Like, oh, you from
Right.
the same countries?
That's why.
Yeah.
No, that's why.
But like, I'm
I'm
pretty
like,
sure
no.
they like collab before. I'm pretty positive on that.
Yeah, that would make sense because like I really started hearing that all of a sudden because I also did happen to rewatch Euphoria recently. So it was like in my head, I was like, oh, wait, I'm hearing
Yeah.
things.
So good.
You could
Yeah.
literally do a mashup of Euphoria and play this album.
Right.
Like,
Like you really could.
Probably. Yeah.
But yes, love James Blake. If y'all don't know, go
Now you
listen
know.
to the
Wait,
color.
Maya, is
in
there a song that
anything.
you like, or it was just like there's just whatever?
What's that? Something like Willing Heart or something like that. What's the name of that one?
Let me see.
My Willing Heart.
Yeah. I remember that one for sure. I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, sometimes I had to keep looking because I would listen to it while driving, and then I'd be like, "What is this called?" Because
I
sometimes
know.
like you'd have no idea what it was called.
Well, even
and then it just goes into the next.
I know. Well, you know how like was it Spotify? One of them just keeps playing even after the album's done. It just keeps playing. And so I was like listening to
if you have
other
it
stuff
on,
and
like,
was like,
infinity
wait a
loop.
minute. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, wait, is this still him?
Oh,
I
that's
don't know.
like playing like other artists and
Yeah,
shit.
I
That's
was like,
funny.
who is this?
Like Monica.
Where did you get on here? So yeah, so I actually didn't know when it ended. It just started playing some other stuff, and I was like, wait, how long was this album over?
That's funny. But yeah, he's great. I'm a new fan.
Yeah, I think it's more interesting, like even hearing you talk about it, Khalil, because I feel like I'm not like I like music, but it's not like theater and things to me. Like I will sit there and dive into why this happens in the theater, this happens on the screen or whatever. But it's cool that you feel that way about music, that you're like, this even in your explanation of like it's more about a human expressing themselves rather than like a particular emotion you're feeling personally. That even is different to me because I'm like, oh, that's true. I mean, you know, even though I understand how music works, like I get that, but it's cool coming from somebody that like studied it. Like even when you were talking about at the beginning that you were just listening to different artists and producers trying to figure out like
Mhm.
what makes their sound and what makes your sound kind of thing. So
Yes.
That's what drove me also to The Death of Adam, because for that album, is it okay if I just start talking about the
Yeah.
album here?
It
Or
was a beautiful segue.
for
Right.
that one, I listened to that first in high school. So the first song I heard was when I graduated 8th grade. I heard the song "Stay Up with Viagra" because it had
Mhm.
Kanye on it, and like the video was really funny. So that was the first one I heard.
Yeah, I
And
feel
then
like I
had
had heard that one before, probably from you playing it though.
most likely because it's not like you didn't hear it on the radio or like something.
right.
And then I also heard this one song Ho is short for honey, because I was a
Mhm.
big Kid Cudi fan, and he had that on one of his mixtapes, even though it's an 88 Keys song. But I really first listened to that album front to back in 10th grade. And that was like a transitional year for me. I just transferred schools. And that's around the time where it's like, I'm not in middle school anymore. So I'm not so focused on basketball. But anyway, like, when you get older, your friends start caring about different things. We're not all trying to play basketball and games anymore. Now they're like texting shorties and all that stuff. So now I gotta be
Was the
like, damn, like I'm
transition.
like lonely. This is crazy. Like I'm trying to hang out with y'all. You trying to get bitches. That's not what I was on. So like
Right.
10th grade comes around. So I'm like, what, 15? And he's talking about heartbreak. He's talking about how a girl did him wrong and all these things, like a whole thing.
Right.
And like I can relate to, obviously not to the extent as what he was going through. I think more as an adult I can. But as an adult listening to it, like it sounds like a coming of age film.
Right.
Just
Mhm.
like the way it's structured from beginning to end, where he's like tired of being in the friend zone. He goes on some
Mhm.
his player shit.
Yeah.
That backfire. It's like Loki. It's like he's
All the
describing
things.
Lawrence.
Oh my
On
gosh.
Like from
Instagram.
Don't.
So it's like if you,
I'm
you could make
crying.
Lawrence as Adam.
I am
And
crying.
if you think about it like
Don't
that,
do this.
it's just like how I think every black
Ifis.
man can really relate to this album. And like the production is like amazing because
Lawrence even got
he's a
an STD that
producer.
one time.
He
So it
sure did.
fits.
And he had to call
Burned when
everybody,
it peed.
exactly. And it's like,
He
and
sure
it
did.
was Redman who sang his background
I'm
and Sean K.
sobbing.
Oh.
Wow.
So with that album, it's just like you could relate to it as a black man, just as a person who knows like this to date or just growing up, figuring things out. And then it's like my favorite songs on that one is MILF. Because it's like
Oh.
it's like very churchy, and it's like I really like Bilal. And it's like
Mm.
he's singing like he's dead.
Yes.
With like this like
Yes.
beautiful sample by Sly Stone.
I
And then
thought
Bilal
that.
is like with these organs, and then the narration
I was
is
shook
just
at that
great.
song, actually. I was
I
like,
think the album is ahead of its time. It came out in 2008, but it's like that could drop now.
yeah,
Could
yeah,
have dropped in the
definitely.
2010s. It could have
Right.
dropped so much. And it's like
Definitely.
the way he's rapping, he's not trying to do too much. He's not too wordy.
Right.
Everything hits how it should. The singing. Well, I'll let you, if you were gonna ask me something, I won't just start talking.
Well, this album, first of all, I wasn't expecting the story. I was like, oh my gosh,
Right.
this is musical theater. This is giving
Right.
a play. Like this is a whole
This
story.
is musical
I
theater.
loved the interludes. And I was like, oh, we got a narrator and she's telling us. And
Right.
so so I thought that was fun. And also it just like was kind of funny, made me laugh like in the beginning, being like, dang, like stuck in the friend zone, and then being like, nah, next girl is getting cuffed. And handcuff is one of my favorite songs. I really like that one. But then also then to have songs, he's like giving his dick a pep talk in the bathroom. Like I was like, what? And she's like, come on, Lil, let's go, get up. I was like, oh my gosh, what? And then you have stay up, right? Right into that. And then but also then her being like well then there's pleasure in it. I really like that song too. Like the beat, I'm like, oh.
It's such a good groove. The way like he makes the background sound like the heat of the moment. Like it kind of sounds like
Yes.
Right.
fire. It sounds like fire, but like not like a nigga's on fire. Like,
Right.
it sounds like really like the heat of the moment.
Right.
And
Right.
the way he's using his
Definitely.
voice, like and just
Uh-huh.
the ideas in it is just so good with a simple like weird like I don't even know what country that sample's from, but it's like I'm pretty sure it could be like some 70s psychedelic rock or like some Indian soul or something like that. And it's just like the way he like took that and added a simple kick and a snare and just made
Yes.
noises on it and feel, and it's like only like what, 30
Right.
seconds, like a
Right.
minute or so. So it's
Right.
such a short
It's
song.
a short song.
But everything flows together so seamlessly, you don't even think about it. You're just feeling the whole thing. It's like I said, like a movie.
Yes.
Right.
And then like round 2 made me laugh. I was like, oh my gosh, what? And she's like, let's
A
go.
whole
And he's
scene,
like,
yeah.
you're gonna have to wake me up in 20 minutes. Like
A literal scene.
I was like but and then you have like his him on his hoe shit, and then the whole story of her like not really being on birth control, saying she
Right.
was the whole time. Be like, he was talking about the nicotine patch, not the birth control patch, and the birth control was Tic Tacs the whole time. And she was like, "I'm clean, be inside me." And then he gets a STD. You got the
And a
burning
baby.
bush, and then the baby.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's true.
I was
on
like, this
top
is
of it.
honestly like, this is like a tale to warn you. It's like, don't
Yeah.
Do
do
not
this.
do
Like it's
The
saying you're,
abstinence album.
it literally, it's like
We
saying
gonna play
you're
this
going to
for
be
kids.
pissed being in the friend zone. You're going to want to be on your host shit, but don't go that route. Cause look
Right.
at the death of Adam. Look what happened to him.
Right.
That's like
That's
how
why
I
I
felt
didn't do it.
by the, that's
how
honestly
we
how I felt
learned.
like by the end of the album, because then, you got another victim is how it ends.
Yeah.
I was like, this was a warning. Like, this is like, don't, you guys, but it's also like really great music, but because it ends that way, it got
I
like
know.
dark. I was like, oh, like we started out happy and funny and we ended at damn.
She
So
was like,
it was a real journey.
yes. I love that the narration sound. I was like, is this Nicki Minaj?
Yes, I thought she sounded
I was
like Nicki
is
too. I
this
kept being like,
It was before she came out.
and it was Nicki.
No, it wasn't. I'm saying
Oh,
like
okay.
that came out before, but like they
I thought
sound
you were
like
telling
that.
me that was her. I
I
was
know.
like, oh
I
my
did
God.
phrase it like that.
Right,
like,
because
I thought
because
that's-
Beam Me Up Scotty would
Right.
have been around that time or like right after.
Because Drake wasn't even out yet.
Right.
That when the album came out. Because it came out 2008. So and like Best I
Right.
Ever Had came out 2009.
Oh.
Right.
So it was really before the whole Young Money thing. It was really just around like Lil Wayne's era. So it was like Carter
Right.
3 era.
Right,
Oh.
right. The Carter 3, great.
And it's like this album doesn't sound stuck in
right. No,
2000s at all.
it doesn't at all. Yeah, because there's a good amount of songs where it's like, okay, we're here. Like you feel
This is
you feel
it.
pulled back to the
Right.
2000s. But yeah, this one does feel pretty timeless and like it could have been at any time. And because it's like a story, I feel like
Right. That makes it timeless.
That adds to the timelessness of it because like, yeah, you can relate to that at like any time. It was never like, I don't know. There's never going to be a point where it's like a guy wasn't in the friend zone. Like back then we
right.
we didn't have friend zones.
Back in my day.
It
friend
all
zones.
feels like the same. So
the 2 songs on that project that I wish I made, I should have said this for the James Blake one too. I really wish I made Dirty Peaches.
Oh yeah, I like Dirty Peaches too.
Yeah.
The
Dirty
production on that
Peaches.
was really good. The way he starts off with like the drum roll, do, and then it hits right away. And then the way she's singing, like he's only doing the background ad-libs. Like he's like on some Dilla shit. Just doing the ad-libs, and then it's like she's just going crazy, and her harmonies is dope too. That one is a song I've always been, even to this day, I'm like, I haven't made something that feels like that yet.
Wow.
And then MILF, of course, I really wanted to make that one because like just the way Bilal sings on it and just the simple organ on the sample beat is like 88 Keys is the way he makes samples. Because like, so he's made a lot of music. He's made shit for Kanye. I'm pretty sure he's produced for too. He did a lot with Mac Miller, and he did a lot with Mos Def and Kweli. So they did a lot of music together. So he's been around for a while, but I feel like he's never mentioned like how he should be. Well, I don't know if he necessarily should because he's not like, he doesn't make like the radio shit. Like he's not like Pharrell where he's just a hit maker out of the time. But it's like he makes like his use of sampling and his use of just music production is just really up there. That I really wish he was like more spoken about when it comes to like some of the dopest hip hop producers, just producers in general, because he's made so many different genres. But yeah, MILF and Dirty Peaches for sure. If I obviously a lot of them, but those are the 2 that stick out. And then on James Blake's album, I wish I made Points and Timeless. I couldn't make Timeless though. That's more of a James Blake thing. It would be me like imitating him if I made that. But like that one, Forest Fire though, like the way that they both kind of harmonize, like him and Barney Bear, because like that's what they do. They're really good at like the auto-tuned voice.
Yeah, without
like
it being like
layering it.
Ugly.
Right.
Because that's what made like because Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, the lead on that, he brought that to Ye. well, like they was already doing that on College Dropout, but then it's like, like when you hear like I'm Lost in the World, that's a sample of him,
Oh,
of Bon Iver, and then like they were both a part of Yeezus, and they added a
Right.
little elements to that. So it's like this the way they use every instrument that they can, whether it's
right.
looping, whether it's sampling techniques, simple
You know what's
chords, gospel
funny?
chords. What?
Sorry. No, keep going.
No, that's pretty much it.
I remember, so Bon Iver, he won a bunch of Grammys. What do you know what year that was when he was like winning? He won I don't know if it was album of the year or what, but I remember at that time, they like were making fun of it on SNL because so many people were like, "Who the hell is Bon Iver?" And I didn't know who he was, and I was like,
I still can't tell if it's just him or if it's a group. Because I know his name is Justin Vernon,
right.
but then it's like they go back and forth. So I don't know if
I'm
it's
sorry.
if
Yeah,
like that's the government and he just go by Bon Iver. Because like Tame Impala is one person, but he performs with a
A
group
group.
because he makes all the music
Oh,
himself. I forget his name too, but
Drew Hill is a group, even though it sound like a one-man name.
well,
that's
man.
90s shit though. That's the way they was on.
Yeah,
They was on
that's
that
what they
shit.
be doing, you
Yeah,
Well,
know.
like
I
there's a
wanted to
group
ask.
called Guy, and there's 3 niggas in that group.
Right. Guy does have 3 people.
It's wild.
Well, there's 3 letters, so one for each
Oh
person.
shit.
There we go. But anyway, I remember just like it being like a joke of people being like, "Who the hell is Bon Iver?" And I remember, I feel like I brought that up to you once, and you like really knew who he was, and you're like, "What? No, he does this and this." And I was like,
Me?
"Oh, yeah." Like, I remember just saying it one time, or maybe like I saw him playing, and I was like, "Yeah, who is he?" Like, he
Who
won
is
these
that?
Grammys, and I just remember, I'm pretty sure it was like Justin Timberlake played him in a sketch on SNL, and they were
Summer.
just having him sing like, and like we're making fun of this is
He's
him on the
really
guitar.
good.
But you educated me, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
I don't listen to him that
Some
much.
respect.
I'm crying.
I don't listen to him like that much, but I like his features. Like I liked what he did with Ye and James Blake. I never fully went deep in his discography yet. I probably
Yeah.
will soon, but because he makes the type of music I like.
Yeah. Well, I never would have
I
guessed
do
he like
this.
worked with Kanye or anything like that, especially like back whenever that sketch came out in whatever year that was.
Whatever
Like,
that was.
like I
He's on
wasn't
My
thinking,
Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
yeah, like I didn't know any of that. And so I wouldn't have guessed it. I thought he was making like folk music or something. Like I was like, what is
It
he
does
He
doing?
does kind of.
sound
It
like
is kind
that.
of like folk. It's like a
Yeah.
new thing. He has this song. This is one of my favorite songs. It's him. He's on the hook. It's called "Hold My Liquor." It's on Yeezus,
Oh.
Kanye's album, and it's like he's on the hook and Chief Keef is on the hook.
Mhm.
So it's fucking Bon Iver, Chief Keef, and Kanye West. It's like that's why Kanye's
That's
a
a
beat.
pretty, yeah.
Because it's like,
Right.
who the fuck would think I'm gonna get Bon Iver,
Right.
Right.
the nigga who sound like he live in the mountains,
Right.
and Chief Keef, the nigga from Chicago.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Right. We're just gonna mix it all up and
we're
see what
gonna
happens.
make a hood orchestra, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. And it's
A
called
hood
"Hold My
orchestra.
Liquor." Right? He's talking about a wild story, but I like that song a lot.
I'll leave that to you guys.
Did you have any favorites, Imaya, on the death of Adam?
The friend zone I liked. Nice guy. I think I liked the beginning a lot. The nice guys finish last song.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I just like the story in general. Like I loved the narration. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, she over there talking about, do you know that same girl? Like I was on the floor. I was like, wow, this is a whole story. It's somebody talking to their hairdresser or something.
Yes.
It would be funny. You know, we should do now that because I didn't even think about that until the podcast. Where like we should make a compilation of like play the album all the way through and just find clips of Lawrence and let him be like the movie. Just make
honestly,
a movie with insecure clips.
I'm calling Issa about that one because
that's
accurate. I would say
it really is. I can't, except Lawrence like gets his happy ending. I don't think Adam does.
Yeah. Well, he was unhappy for a while there.
That's true.
Yeah, he was unhappy for a while.
Got tricked.
So got tricked.
Really did.
I just like, was Adam, do we know if Adam was rich? Because
not at all.
I didn't think so. And I just don't know why people want to like trap by having a baby, especially if they're not rich.
If you ain't got no money. Paige is like, what's in it for you though?
You just wanted a baby? I don't know. it's not gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Nope.
You still gonna have to take care of the baby. I feel like you forgot that.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh. It is scary though. People do need to be careful. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
because like
Stay up.
everybody stay up. Because people I feel like we always talk about how like men are out here wilding and a lot of them are, but a lot of women are out here wilding and they be throwing it and they're ready to get somebody pregnant and I'm like, or ready to have their baby. And I'm
And that's
like,
all he was saying.
Yeah.
that's all he was saying.
That's all 88Qs wanted you to know.
It's only, this is an advertisement for condoms because you never know if she's
Right.
actually on birth control.
Right. Don't trust everybody just because you talk to them for a little bit.
Literally, even the details in that one song talking about like, oh, we ran out of condoms and then it was
Right.
fine. I would pull out and we did it and I was pulling out and then she was like, no, do it inside. Like the whole detail. I was like,
Right.
wow, they went through it all. And then months later, pregnant. What? You're lying.
Yeah. This is sex ed,
It
everybody.
was a movie.
Do not.
Like,
Oh, you know what? I wanted to ask you actually. So since this album clearly has, this story in the script, do you know, and if you don't know for sure, do you maybe have an idea of like how 88 Keys would have done this? Do you think he like went to the artist he collabed with and was like, this is how the story goes, like your song will be at this point in the story and like go, or because it's all so connected. How do you think that like happened?
Probably. I don't think this is so curated that it couldn't have been accident.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that's how he did it. Because I mean, that's usually how people do their sessions,
Okay.
So I'm pretty positive, like that's exactly what he went. And like most of the music is him by himself,
Right.
And then
Right.
it's like like there's Redman, there's Fonte, there's Bilal, Jay Davy. Those are the only like features, only like 4 features. Everything else is him.
Okay.
He's synced like
Right,
in the
right.
beginning song Morning Wood. Like he's that song is funny, but it sounds
Yeah.
so like happy.
I know, yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So
like
nice.
like cartoony.
Right.
Right? It's Morning Wood. But it's like he I'm pretty sure that's him singing.
Oh, okay.
And that's him playing all the instruments and all that stuff.
Oh,
And,
okay.
what's the
Yeah,
one
I
on-
wasn't sure.
What's that song?
Which one?
Is
Which
that
one?
Friend Zone? No, it's not. I
with
love
the
talking
person?
about, yeah, that is Friend Zone. Oh, I love talking about your ex all night. You can stay.
Oh.
That's Friend Zone, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that song is crazy. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, he just made the music first and then just brought him along.
Okay.
But there's not like footage of him like talking about it really.
Interesting.
So that's why I'm like, this is underrated. It's like you have to like find this shit. I don't think
Right.
I've ever heard anybody mention it. I've never heard anybody else play a song from the project. Like,
Does he rap a lot too, or does he mostly produce? Like,
that's his only album, I believe. His only like, solo project.
oh,
But he
okay.
produces all. He just produced on, but it's an old ass beat though. He just produced on Pusha T's new album.
Oh, okay.
He's
Oh.
made a lot of shit. Let me look. I actually want to see. I'm gonna pull up his discography because he's produced some of my favorite songs. And yeah, The Death of Adam is, I think, his only solo project. Oh, he produced for Macy Gray.
Oh,
Any single 3LW. That's funny.
okay.
That's a jam.
I was
The,
so mad.
High Fashion. Do you know that song?
I don't know that one.
I don't know.
I don't know it either.
If it's not Prometheus, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I think that's his only like album. And he produced on Watch the Throne. He produced on Donda. Yeah, he worked on Donda.
Oh.
He's always been a Kanye collaborator. They're like always
Okay.
been kind of hand in hand.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I like that name too. 88 Keys. I think it's a cool,
Yeah.
cool name.
Yeah, I didn't even
Good
realize
pick.
it was the because of the how many keys are on the piano.
Piano.
Until like I started playing more.
Mm.
Like I had like a little keyboard, and then when I knew there was 88 keys in the piano, like and later in high school, I was like, oh shit, that's why he's 88 keys.
I get it.
Yes.
That's cool.
He says how he got his name too, but I think it's not that important for right now. But yeah,
I feel like that's the hardest part is finding your name. You're like, it has to be something good, but not like, I don't know.
Corn,
I feel like
Not
especially
corny.
like if you're a producer or
Right.
a rapper, it's usually like some version of a name. It's not usually just like your regular name. Well, not all the time.
Right.
A lot of people do use their regular name, but it seems
Pharrell
like
Williams.
Right.
Kanye
The whole
West.
name.
But it does seem like if like you never have, it's not a lot of pop singers changing their name. You know, if someone does change their name, it's usually like hip hop or music producer type of person. So you do gotta have a good name.
You gotta come up with a good one. That's a
Like
lot of
a
pressure.
tattoo.
It's like a tattoo.
Forever.
Wow. It is. Wow. Yeah. Because if you
It's like when Bow Wow tried to change. He went to go to buy Shad Moss, like he was
and we were like, no,
NFL running back or some shit. He was like,
yeah,
Lil Bow Wow.
Like you are Lil Bow Wow forever.
I was like, we just took the Lil off. Now
I know.
Right.
I know.
Right. This is true. We had to take the Lil. Now you want a whole new name.
It's like, and it's like,
Like
Shad. Let me stop, because what if he hears this and he started? I have like random beef with Bow Wow now.
Oh my gosh.
I respect you, Bow Wow. I really do.
I love Bow Wow. I think love he's Bow Wow.
He should have been the underrated moment. Bow Wow, he became a joke for no reason.
Like why? Why did people start clowning him?
He had us lit in like for like our whole life, pretty
literally.
much.
He
really
had
did. Like literally our whole life. It was really until it's because he did that fake plane shit that ruined his life. If he wouldn't have did that fake bet on Instagram, we would have never looked at him no type of way, because nobody made fun of him when he was hosting 106 in Park.
That's so
right.
106 in Park.
That's so true.
You're right.
It was that. I bet you if he would go back in time, he probably would change that pic. He'd delete the Instagram post.
He's like, that's not the one.
Don't post that one.
Yeah.
And that video, no, this is turning into a Bow Wow episode. It's okay. We're not about to shit on Bow Wow.
It's okay. Thank you to 88 Keys, The Death of Adam. Thank you to James Blake, The Color in Anything. I kept getting that title mixed up. I kept wanting to say The Color of Anything, and then also he spells color the British way, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is the album?
You're like, not the you.
I really, you know what, actually, before we hop off, I think the artwork on both these albums is interesting. I really like the James Blake one, this like color watercolor looking type of painting. I think it's pretty and a little like spooky. It has that like haunting feeling with this tree. You know, this tree's dead. It's like, but then in the back it's very green and you see a little warm, but it's very like cloudy above him. And then the Death of Adam I thought was interesting because 88 Keys is black, but this album looked like white people on it to me.
I'm pretty sure it's because of like Adam and Eve, so that's why it's like the apple.
That's what I was wondering. I forgot to ask that. Yeah, the Death of Adam, if it was supposed to be a play on, Adam and Eve. But Eve got some stilettos on.
So makes it the remix. Because if she was barefoot, that's kind of wild. She was just barefoot outside, just looking at this thing out. It would be like, what kind of earthy album is this?
Yeah, you're right.
She's standing over him like she knocked him out.
Yeah.
That's
what you learned. She's got stilettos on. Okay, clearly this is a remix and not an earthy album.
This is very like sexy. This is not. Let's go outside and play.
Right.
And eat fruits.
Right.
You're right. It's sexy.
That's why his feet literally look like he was on like a coroner's desk.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right. It's grass, but we know he's dead. But thanks for joining us here on Underrated Moments with Khalil Semien, our special guest. If you have enjoyed this, actually first, Khalil, let the people know where they can find you. Where can they follow you? How can they see your work?
Khalil Semien on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. That's
amazing.
KHALILSEMIN.
Amazing. And if you enjoyed this and want to come see our after show, Hot Takes With, then come join us on Patreon. You can see this on patreon.com/thisisamomentpodcast. And Khalil, why don't you give the people maybe a little hint about what your hot take is going to be? If you could just say 3 words, that's it to describe it. What are the 3 words you're picking?
The 3 words. I don't think I can do it in 3 words. Like, okay. Movies are trash because TV is better. Like, I guess like that's the best way to say it. Like
the whole thing.
That was 6 words.
That's what I'm saying. That's the best way to do it. I can't just say movies are trash, and then it's like, oh, he just doesn't like movies.
He just hates movies.
All right.
If I just say TV is better, then it's just like, then what?
That's what's enticing about it. Better than what? Click.
Bleep that
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Like, TV is better. Fill in the blank.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys. And we'll either see you on our bonus episode or our after show, or we'll see you on the next Underrated Moments with. Thank you. Bye bye.